pans out. But I guess like we'll do a little bit of like context stuff at the start in terms of like um goal stuff as well as like um I mean some context behind this game as well. So yeah, which one are you here by the way?
I'm Hubris.
Hubris, okay.
Uh,
Um I how do you split your playtime between Freya and Symmetra?
so I used to play a lot of Symmetra, and I would got up to like Plat 2 with a 60-ish% win rate, and then Freya released, and I've been pretty exclusively been playing Freya, unless she's banned, in which case I play Symmetra and a little bit of Genji nowadays. But for the most part, I've been just trying to get good at Freya, so that way I can play her at the same level I can play Symmetra-ish, maybe better.
Yeah, makes sense. What do you are there certain parts of your gameplay do you feel like you're specifically weak at, or things that you're playing in the game and you feel like you're struggling a little bit with, or maybe you're feeling a little bit lost in the mid fight, like stuff like that? Do you have any sort of like concerns or queries or like things that you picked up on when you're playing the game?
I feel like most of the time I either have decent mechanics or a decent position, but I don't feel like I have both at the same time very often. So
Right,
I feel
right.
like I can take a good angle and then I miss everything, or I take a really bad angle and I hit stuff, but I die really quickly.
All right, so there'll be like there's definitely gonna be some stuff on cooldown management. I'm sure of it. Like I even in pro play, people don't know how to use their dashes correctly, or even their updraft, and even in teams that I've coached, people use updraft way too early, and then when they actually need to be taking a correct angle, they don't have updraft, and they just can't get any good damage off of it basically. On this map that's very linear, it shouldn't be that hard or shouldn't be that tough to take an angle here. It's mainly just playing or using your updraft and peeking around the corner and swinging wide. It's not that complex. Hitting the shots and getting the micro down will be a little bit more, I guess, micro related or a little bit more complex that we can talk about as we go throughout. But yeah, I guess we'll see how it pans out here. And also in general, like what's like your long term goal and how often do you like play the game? Would you say per day?
So I usually try and play like I want to say like an hour, maybe two a day. I try and get a few games in every day. Um, I that's mainly it. And for as for long-term goals, I feel like I'm kind of like I want to get up to diamond, or like really masters is a long-term goal, but like I'd like to be able to reach diamond here.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, that should be fairly achievable. I mean, most players as well, they just want to rank up and climb to the next elo. Some players, they're pretty ambitious in terms of like, oh yeah, I want to go pro or I want to make tier 2 or whatever the case may be. But yeah, we'll see how this pans out. And yeah, playing an hour or two a day should be fine to get you to diamonds. Again, it'll depend how fast you improve and the how big the improvements actually are. And whether the stuff that we'll see are it is like really detrimental to what's holding you back. But we'll see how this pans out. And yeah, okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, bro's AFK. Yeah, you might. I mean, I know this is like extremely micro, but just get some spam on the doorway. Yeah, it's very easy. It's easy to charge, so nothing crazy. Bro's still AFK. There we go. All right. Firephone. Okay. Snipers. Okay. Okay. So there's definitely some min-maxing already that we need to sort of mention here. I guess the first thing is, how do I phrase it here? How could you be increasing your APM or your actions per minute on this character?
I could probably be taking a better angle, moving to the right a little bit to maybe get an angle on the
Yeah,
backline and playing the doorway.
for sure, right? Because you immediately dash to the left side and that just cuts off your LOS immediately, right? I think part of it is down to just where you begin with or where you start off with on the character. Like again here, you can just see deep into the chokeway, and then you can just dash backwards if you need to, or just dash upwards. But yeah, leading here, just limiting your LOS, not particularly ideal here. What's something else you could be doing in between your shots?
In between my shots, I could. I'm not sure. Maybe I could be trying to dash around the corner or like dashing between my shots to get faster uptime.
Yeah, less so what I was thinking. Yeah, so I mean, we kind of saw that a little bit, right? But the general rhythm is for like your shots here is one take aim shot and then like 4 rapid fire shots and then one take aim and then rinse and repeat. You did one take aim shot, then I think you got 4 bullets in your clip here and 8 normal shots, and then you did one take aim and then one take aim again. Which is a little bit inefficient, and then you're forced to be dashing around because of it. Dashing is fine. I mean, dashing in general to reload is fine. But of course, you dash away into the left side here, which limits your LOS. If you want to just reload to get dashes, just stand still, and then again you can keep your angle here. Or again, you can dash slightly to the left here a little bit, and then just get a better LOS in the doorway. Nothing crazy. But yeah, a little bit of APM optimization there. Yeah, shots. Okay. Okay. So, what have you noticed about your tank?
My tank is moving backwards.
Yes, and what are you doing right
under
now?
the doorway right now, and I'm moving forwards.
Yes, and what is happening to your HP?
It is evaporating.
Yes, because Ash is shooting at you right now. And this is the thing that that literally will happen to, or has happened to Freya players constantly for the last, well, since the release, is mistiming of her kits. I think this was sort of taken from Capitology, who's a tier 2 coach. And he basically sort of described Freya as like, people think of Freya as like this sort of like static, very consistent damage character, like Cassidy basically, or an Ashe, right? In reality, you're very cyclical in terms of how your burst damage works. In that you'll get extremely high burst value when your Orisa's going in. Like when your Orisa goes in right now, or again, maybe it's the other way around, maybe the Zara's going in, and then you can just again do your cycle here essentially. But you can just again shoot and then do 2 dashes and then get 3 shots off immediately, and that's extreme burst damage that no other character in this game really has. But unfortunately, it's been kind of wasted a little bit early because again you're dashing away left side and then capping off your LOS. But also it's grossly mistimed here because of how early you're peeking in right now. And there's tons of like again, Ash is looking at you right now. Zen's probably charging his orbs towards you. Zara is starting to walk her way towards you here as well. And against characters or players with hands, this is very risky with what you're doing here. So again, you're ignoring what your Orisa does, right? And I guess the key cue is like literally there, right? The fact that Orisa is actually moving backwards and playing distance from the car itself tells you that, you know what, I should be probably giving up a little bit of space here, or getting ready to give some space here, right? Maybe again, you can fire one take aim shot here, but then you immediately drop down and then back off a little bit, and then again you can keep spamming this corridor. I would not be walking forward, as you kind of allude to what you're doing on the character, because this is overtly dangerous. Yeah, it's 87 HP there, and now Zarya's on you, and you end up dying here sadly, I think she right clicks you and then beams you and finishes you off, and that's purely down to you tunnel visioning and you mistiming your pressure on the character. I guess a graph to sort of illustrate this might be, like again, I show this for like different contexts and to different players. Honestly, mostly when countering dive. But your character kind of looks like this in terms of your power cycle, your power spike, and this is your dashes. This is your updraft. This is your spike, and you're kind of using it a little bit too early when your wrist is not doing anything. And as a result, you end up dying for it. So yeah, I guess that's the key thing. I guess the template you want to like have a mental template or a framework on the character. That's based around the cycles of your team. Not based around, hey, I've got like really consistent damage, I can just keep spamming whenever. So yeah. And actually, again, if you're playing Ashe, Cass, you can stand here and shoot. You can just shoot the Orisa here, not Orisa, you can shoot the Zarya here and dome it to the head. But you can't commit cooldowns and positioning. You can't commit for this. So yeah. I guess I'll ask you this. Right, why is it that you commit early here?
I think the reason why I commit early is because I see 3D, so I've been not seeing squishies because my position has been bad, and now I see 3 squishies and I get a little bit overzealous, and I think that I'm like, well, I need to secure a pick here in the pre-fight while
Yeah.
maybe retake some space, and I miss everything, have a bad angle, and ignore my tank.
Yeah. So there is I think there's like a 4-step sort of rule about habit formation, which is a Q, and then this is from I forgot the name of the book, Atomic Habits by I forgot the author. But it's a very famous book. That I'm sure again, if you search up Atomic Habits, you'll find it. There's this like 4-step rubric about how habits form. which is a Q, and then a craving, and then a rewards, and then a repetition was repeated essentially. And this is how every single behavior that you do in life is basically constructed. So you see the cue here is that you visually see the backline walk. The craving is, again, you getting overzealous. It's some kind of emotion that you want to get a kill right now. And again, the reward here, and this is why people are always stuck in low elo, is that some of the time you will get the reward of getting these kills. So a great example I like giving is in bronze. There was this was a while ago, but there was a Reinhardt who loved pinning in the backline in bronze, and some of the time it would actually work, and he would get rewarded for it. And because you got rewarded for it, he would repeat it constantly. And in this situation here, of course, you die to the Zarya, but I'm sure there's been cases where you've gotten rewarded for doing this kind of play, where even then, right, you get a nice headshot. I think you got a nice headshot into the Ashe a little bit earlier or something like that. And you got rewarded for that. And I guess again the solution to this essentially is to switch the craving or to decrease the craving, and I sort of acknowledge the emotion that you're being overzealous here and change that mindset where, hey, I know I can get damage on these characters, but my character's not, again, I shouldn't commit cooldowns to my character here when I can't be overzealous for it, when I can't physically again be overzealous because my Orisa is 10 trillion light years away. And as Zarya again, my team's not doing anything. Nothing's going on right now. So I don't need to be this aggressive this early. So yeah, we'll see future fights. I assume this timing thing's gonna be pretty common. A common mistake, but we'll see. Okay. Thankfully, again, timing's. Oh yeah, registered. Thankfully, your two people are dead though, sadly. But thankfully, timing is a fairly easy fix, right? You can just change. You can also just change the queue, right? Look at your Orisa. Your Orisa is the visual queue, and that should tell you when to go in. So thankfully, timing is a fairly easy thing to fix. But yeah, or simple, I should say. Okay, and even here, right? Like this is okay. You've got a decent distance to use. You've got cover here to use as well. I wouldn't even mind you using updraft because again, you've got a better angle to use and you're a little bit harder to hit. And again, by the time these guys come back, you'll get your cooldowns back anyways. But I guess that the general sort of, again, principle here is I don't want you being overzealous for this too early because you are the farthest person to push up here. So yeah. And also, how could you swing, or again, I've already kind of alluded to it, right? But how could you swing the corner here or do damage safely? Or more safely than you are right now? Right, updraft is the obvious one, right? What else?
The other thing I could do maybe is there's that staircase right behind me that I could maybe
right?
I could try and like updraft onto that to have some more maintainable high ground, have a piece of cover right there.
Right. And, so this is so you've got you cover here, distance as well. I wouldn't even mind if you wanted to play here and save your updraft. That's fine as well. But there's I guess a big sort of idea here, which is again taken from Capitology, which is called get off the corner. In other words, I don't want you on this corner. Get off it. I want you to swing this corner as wide as you physically can. So the stairway here is probably the best way of, again, swinging this corner as wide as you physically can. That gives you some cover to use. Do not hug this corner. You will get punished for it before you even know it. That doesn't mean, again, you can't use it as cover. Right? You can still updraft like this and use the corner as cover. You can use this building as cover and swing like this. But the whole point of having distance is that it gives you time to react to anything that's going on your screen. But yeah, we'll see here. Alright. Okay, spam, sure. Fine. Okay. Sure, I don't mind this angle. Okay. And again, alright, what's the issue with this?
The issue is this updraft doesn't really gain me any new sightlines. I just kind of updrafted into away from my cover, and I have no sight on anybody at the moment because I updrafted even to, which ended up blocking my vision because of these palm trees.
Yeah, right, so, again, there's no benefit to updrafting here at all. And actually, again, you're just putting yourself at more risk, right? It's not even like you're updrafting and using this building here to your left side and then trying to use it as cover, right? And also, where's Zarya? Where's your Zarya? And where's their Zarya and where's your Orisa?
Way to my right. Like,
yeah,
they're moving.
Exactly, they're way to your right, you know? Now, again, these guys are probably somewhat... I mean, the timing's not terrible because they probably are looking at your Orisa anyways. but your Orisa isn't like directly on top of them. And if your Orisa was, then doing this kind of updraft makes a bit more sense, because you can, again, ideally you would have a better vision over on top of the fight, so you've got a better picking and choosing about who you want to go on. But yeah, this is not great timing here again. It's a little bit too early, and again, you're not getting any big advantage out of this. Okay. Is it gonna touch? Is she? Hang on, I need to zoom out here. Again, your vision here is so limited, right? Because it's like, you're going in while your wrist is out. Now, your wrist is in. Well, she's touching. And she's touching, and now you're out, you know? You need to, this is what you should be peeking. Right here, right now, right? Where Soldier's running away, Ash is looking at the Orisa, Laura is basically looking at the Ash, who's looking at the Orisa, Zen is probably looking at the Orisa here too. This is your time, but what are you doing? You're running away, you know? So again, this is a complete mistiming, and I'm not shocked at this, because it's very common that we've seen in OWCS. I guess Seeker was doing this on Space Station in the first week, but again, he was completely off sync with his Orisa. So again, I'm not complaining at you for this necessarily, because pro players have made this mistake, but it is very fixable, which is, I guess, the annoying part, because you can just look at your Orisa, you know? But yeah. Okay, better late than never, but again, having got updraft, right? Now, like, what can you see? Right? Nothing, you know?
I can see exactly the Zarya and one person's health bar.
Exactly, right? Just the Zarya, who you don't want to be shooting at anyways. And these guys are the juicy ones, so you want to be aiming, you know, doing that, you know, dash, shoot, dash, shoot, dash, shoot. That's what you want to be doing against these kind of characters here. But you can't, right? Because you can't see them. And you already used updraft early, which is sad. So again, it would have been nice to, again, just stand here. Again, the way this fight should have looked is, literally just stand here with where your soldiers at right now. Spam, spam, spam. Let your Orisa walk the cart, and then once your Orisa's on cart, updraft, play the building, spam these guys out, get the Alari, get this person tier 2, dash shoot, dash shoot, dash shoot, dash shoot, and then you get value, you know? But again, you sort of, you know, use your cooldowns here a little bit too early, sadly. Again, it's hurting you in terms of how much value you're getting in the mid fight here. Okay. 1 bolt's fine. Yeah, been unfortunate. That's a crazy vet as well. I thought they capped that. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Let's see here. So your multi gets an insane res. I don't mind the bullet shot. I think the bullet shot's quite nice. Open space, Soldier's very punishable. You can punish him. You've got dashes. You've got distance. I'm okay with this. I know this is on car. I think this timing's great. I like the bullet shot. Right, nice. Okay. Can we get an updraft going? Thank you. Sure. I don't mind that. What's our Zarya? Sure. Punish Ash. Even. There we go. Fine. Okay, better there, right? So again, what this game has looked like so far is that when stuff's going on, you actually look to be doing a lot more better stuff, right? You look a lot more competent with what you're doing. The bullet shot was nice. Updraft against the Zarya was nice. Punishing the Ash was good as well. Like, you're clearly able to sort of identify clear triggers about, again, whether these guys are in open space and whether you can punish them. It's just putting yourself in those positions to begin with in the first place. But yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Mechanically, I've got no concerns really as well. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Sure, I don't mind 1 dash, that's fine. Okay. Okay. So this is again a partial thing with the cover just thing here as well, right? Where again, you're sort of dashing. Is your Orisa doing anything right now?
No, she's not.
No,
she's not even in their view.
She's not even. Why they should never be looking at you first instead of your Orisa, you know? Let them walk forward here, and then let them look at your Orisa first, you know? Let your Orisa draw the attention here. Or conversely, maybe your Orisa goes in first, right? Maybe she's got Terror Search, and she's like, you know what? When these guys walk, I want to spear spin in and Terror Search. That makes sense. It's a good play. Then you can go in afterwards. But again, as we're seeing here, you're going in first, and you're almost dying for it, you know? So again, just be here, play this cover, play slow. You can just do your take aim, 4 shots, take aim, 4 shots, take aim, 4 shots. Keep your cooldowns, and then once they start looking at your Orisa, or they start going at your Orisa, or other way around, then you can start using updraft and your abilities a little bit more. Because honestly, there was a good chance that you could have died here in the pre-fight. That would have been pretty bad. How low do you get here? 31 HP. Yeah, right. Not great. Okay. Alright, really questionable OC by your Sojourn, but whatever. Okay. And if anything, Who are the enemy team looking at?
Now they're looking at me again. Or
Um,
in this Sojourn, maybe, if she's behind me.
right. Right, so the Sojourn overclocked, right? And I'm guessing, from the Zarya's POV, she's staring at Sojourn. So now, now I will be fine with you using Updraft here. Again, your LOS is probably very limited, and actually you might be ruining it because the actual bridge itself, right? But now, I actually wouldn't mind you updrafting, be landing on this building here, and getting value on the backline here, because your Sojourn is actually being the attention draw. So again, you're reactively changing your positioning based on what your team are doing. Now traditionally, I wouldn't say going here is a good idea, but because of what your Sojourn's doing, this would be a good idea to go in, right? Again, conversely, do you think of another situation where going up here would make sense?
If they were maybe, I guess if my Orisa was drawing all the
Yes,
attention.
right? So maybe your Orisa is spinning in, and then you can get updraft here. And no, let me tell you right now, nobody in their right minds is looking. This is gonna be looking at this high ground here if there's an Orisa right in front of them. Nobody in their right minds. And I'm telling you right now, nobody in their right minds is looking at a Freya coming here if they're all looking at a Sojourn here. She's the big attention draw. And actually, again, ideally in higher elo as well, you'd be doing like this sort of like dive bombing kind of thing. Like again, I think in my Freya video, what's his name, Zydra or Chronic, one of those two. They did this on New Junk City, where they were like sort of playing like these really annoying high ground positions with updraft, and then sort of dive bombing in at the correct time before they even knew them, or before they're completely out of their own vision. And it's something that's really good Freya players always do all the time. So this would be again a missed opportunity here to take this high ground position here, land on the high ground, and then dome them with your dash shoot, dash shoot, dash shoot stuff. But yeah, okay, we'll see here. There you are. Okay, and it's perplexing, because when you should be aggressive, you're not, and then when you shouldn't be aggressive, you are. And it looks very conflicting. Because right now, I don't know. Again, I don't know why you're here out on open space, right? But in the last two fights, you've used your cooldowns very aggressively. In fact, you were the first person to die in the very first fights. When no one was doing anything, and now you're very passive here for seemingly no reason. And I think it's because you were so low. You got down to 31 HP, and you were very low. So maybe you were a little bit scared about making an aggressive play. Yeah, you need to be using your team more as your visual cues, even audio cues as well, because of course, so Overclock has a voice line, so you can listen to that. But yeah, those are the cues that tell you, hey, I can capitalize on my team's aggression. Oh, and that's really unfortunate. You could have been. That's really sad. Had you been here, not only do you probably killed the Ashe, to be fair, right? But you would have also avoided the grab, and now you're probably going to die. Which is really unfortunate. Okay. Yeah. Really unfortunate. And that was super avoidable. That was because you had a window. And when your Sojourn was overclocking, you had a window. Yeah. Really unfortunate. Okay. I'll ask you this as well. When you were in the game, did you consider going here?
I did. I think you're right that I got scared because I got hit down to 35 HP.
Yeah,
But also I got clipped by the Ashe earlier, and I don't know if I saw the Ashe, but I knew the Ashe was down there, and so I remember being a little bit wary about peeking the Ashe. Maybe I definitely shouldn't have been, but I do remember thinking about it a little bit, and I just decided to back up because I was worried about getting domed by the Ashe.
Right. So it's good that you bring that up because I mean generally in this is not just Freya and Ashe duels, but just hit scan duels in general, especially sniper duels. It's the biggest advantage you can get in a sniper duel, or again in any hit scan duel, is getting the jump on a character. And again, the way you do that is timing by distractions. Again, I highly by getting clipped. I think when you say getting clipped by the Ashe, do you mean what here on first point when you were on the high ground here initially, or
Yeah, and I just I might have even gotten discorded, but I got like hit once by the Ashe, and I just never, I didn't get to cover in time, and I got hit again, and I died.
Exactly, right? And that was a timing issue there because again, your Orisa wasn't doing anything, and you were moving forward while your Orisa moving backwards. There was a desync in aggression, and again, if your Sojourn overclocks, there's no possible feasible way Ashe is going to know that you're gonna updraft over here, hug this building, and dash shoot, and two shot the Ashe. No possible way. And not to mention her as well, mind you. She might be scoped in, and that reduces her FOV, which also makes her easier to sort of dome from these high up angles. I mean, that's why Freya is also really good against snipers in general. Because you can catch these targets off guard entirely. But yeah, we'll see how next fight pans out, and hopefully timing can be a lot better here, because so far, again, you've been kind of doing your own thing. And doing the general, just spamming as a hit scan would. You're playing like a Cassidy almost. Not timing your swings with what your team's doing. And it's really costing you. It costed you first fight, almost costed you in the second fight, and it costed you hit. So yeah. That's probably going to be capped for them as well, yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Ash is dead. Okay. Okay.
I'll hit where it hurts.
Okay. What's the issue here? It's a small thing, but small issue.
The issue here is that I'm maybe a little bit too I'm maybe a little bit too far away from my cover.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to get back to it.
Just be here. Right? It does not change your angle whatsoever. It just makes you safer. Right? Very simple. It's again I've seen some Illari players in Master do this because they're not used to playing hit scan. And also I see flex CPS players who play Freya make the same mistake. But in high elo, you will see pretty much every hit scan player known to man hug corners in high elo because it's a very common thing. It's just not hug corners, right? But again, use it as cover and actually not swing out in open space. Because again, there's no reason to expose your hitbox. You're not getting a better angle for this at all. So yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Okay. What do you think about the updraft?
This updraft is I think my Orisa's getting attention right now, so it's not the worst in the world, but I am very far away from cover, so it's very vulnerable if somebody looks at me.
Right. Who would you think right now, looking at your Orisa?
There's Zarya. Their soldier is probably looking at the Orisa. I can see him right now. He looks to be looking towards somebody down there.
Right.
And then I can't see the Ashe, so I can't say on that, but maybe question mark Ashe.
Right.
And then these Zen and Illari are probably looking at me right now.
Yes, right. And that's again part of the issue. Right? I don't want this person or this person or this person or this person looking at you. It can't be. So this isn't as bad as we saw because your wrist is spinning in. But your wrist needs to go deeper here effectively. Or again, your wrist needs to be drawing more attention here. I want this Zen and Illari to walk forward more so they can look at your Orisa, and then once they look at your Orisa, then you pop your updraft, and then you can start doing stuff, right? Of course, as well, not to mention, you are out in open space here too, and again in high elo, you will just get punished for this very easily. But yeah, it's not the worst updraft in the world. I've seen worse. Again, you had worse updrafts, but again, not the best in the world either. Okay, you can see that, right? Like you went from what? You were full HP there, I think.
Yeah, and I got hit by the Illari.
Right, and then you get hit by an Illari headshot, right? So we'll give them from 225 to 120. If you were discorded there, again, if they're actually at one body shot, if you got discorded in time, I'm telling you in high elo, you could have been cooked very easily. So yeah. Again, timing there slightly early. To mention here as well, there's also the just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So right about here, just because you can updraft doesn't mean you should, right? Because there just isn't much cover for you to use it, right? What could be a really nice angle you could take? That's timed well your Orisa.
That right side angle, if I was up there right now, I could be playing the mini, and I could use those things as cover.
Right. I actually wasn't thinking this, but that could definitely work, right? Cover, mini, escape paths, they can't reach you without using mobility cooldowns. Yeah, not exactly what I was thinking, but it could work. What might be the issue with getting to here in the first place?
I'm kind of isolated, and I would have to spend a lot of resources to get there.
Sure. Is you being isolated here? Is that a concern? Or why do you think that is a concern?
Because if it's not too much of a stretch to imagine that the soldier might run up the steps or the Ashe might coach gun up, and then I can't really expect any help from my team. I just have to outplay them. Zarya could also pretty reasonably bubble somebody that tries to go and contest me.
Right.
And
so sure. I think that's a fair point in terms of again making sure that again someone might come up the stairs, but again that's also very telegraphed, right? If you go to high ground here, there's only one way they can come and reach you, which is via the stairs, and you can just spam up the stairs and kill anyone that comes here. you've got very good spam. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that too much. My main concern is actually getting here in the first place, because what is this?
A giant amount of open space.
Yes, right? And you're playing into a Discord plus triple hit scan into open space. I don't know if you're going to be even able to actually walk out here. Updraft here, I don't even know as well. It looks rough in terms of the rotation itself. So I would only... When would taking this angle make sense?
Between fights.
Sure. What about your Orisa?
Or when my Orisa is super pushed in.
Yes, right. So again, this would be a great visualization of the swing, right? So your Orisa goes in like this, and then you go in like this. Or again, like the arrow itself, right? Like this basically. That could work great. You've got good distance. Again, your timing's good as well. You're actually able to make this rotation because they're all looking at your Orisa, and she's drawing the attention, right? Very similar on first point on defense, right? Very basic, where this is the corner here. Your Orisa will go in, and you'll swing super far, coast side, right? Up these stairs, maybe. Here, maybe here, maybe here. Right, somewhere over here in this vicinity where you'll swing super, super wide. And this is what you'll see in pro play a lot of the time too, right? In fact, I think in the first game today in EU, with Gen G, I think, you'll see the Freya on defense try and play here. Of course, they Genji tried marking them out, right? Because they know Freya is really, really powerful in this statue spot. But you'll see constantly fights will occur just to control sort of space here, right, on defense, and that's a really good swing to play. Again, notice as well, but mind you, you're swinging away from the corner both times, right? And again, linking back into that idea, right? This is effectively the corner here, as highlighter. This is the corner, and you're swinging away from it, right? Where else can you maybe move to?
I could maybe move to the left side of those palm trees, play that as some cover.
Yes, right. So great. And you haven't even got to use updraft for this one as well, right? So you just go through here, get a low S, and good cover, dash away, fairly easy, nothing crazy. So yeah, either one's fine, but again, the timing here is my main concern, and the lack of cover here is also my main concern. Let's see here. Okay, so you get 120. Okay. And here again, like your angle is, again, out in open space, right? But it's also, you're having to put yourself in absurd amounts of danger just to be able to catch these kills, right? Whereas again, here, it's a little bit safer, and you can still see the soldier, right? Mind you as well, who are the enemy team looking at now?
Well, they're looking at Orisa.
And most of them are looking at Orisa, right?
Yeah.
Now
Alari's looking at the soldier.
Looking at soldier's running away, right? But most of these guys are looking at the Orisa. Right? Why? Because the Orisa went in. She's now deeper, right? And I would love for you to be right here with updraft. Or you could be updrafting right now and catching these kills. Right? Either one's fairly fine. Again, here's probably better and safer because, again, you can swing deeper. And, again, these guys can't reach you. What the fuck? If you're swinging here, how on Jesus' earth is Zarya going to reach you? Like, no, there's no way, right? Zen, no. Iliari, no. No one can reach you. There's no Genji, right? There's no trace. There's no mobility in the enemy team. So you can really swing to your heart's content, basically. And you'll be fine, right? That's also kind of why I sort of downplayed the isolated point, because if you're playing against a very immobile comp, the map is yours. You can take the map. No one's gonna come for you here, right? There's not gonna be a Sombra coming out of Invis trying to punish you if you're isolated, right? Conversely, again, if you're playing into a divier comp, I would expect you to play softer off angles that are less isolated. Even here, I wouldn't say this is isolated here at all, really, because your mercy can still see you. But again, point stands there. I would not be worried if your angle's isolated as much if you're playing into a very immobile comp, which this certainly is. And because you've got probably one of the most mobile characters in this entire match. So I wouldn't be using that mobility to swing wide. But yeah, again, mistiming here. You haven't got updraft for it. Ooh, okay. Okay, big tower surge. Sure. Okay. Okay, where do you move to from here? Where should you move to from here?
I should move to that little area we talked about just a second ago.
Yes, the left,
or
right?
Yeah.
We'll see here. Nice. Okay, cool. So this is the dash rule that I had in my favorite video. Where you want one dash for damage and then at least one dash to escape. Here you exhaust all your dashes for damage, and you end up dying because of it, sadly. So yeah, that's just the golden dash rule basically that I made in that video, and that's where it becomes really important. Also as well, not to mention, why don't you use Bola here?
Because I'm a fool.
Right? I mean, I guess like we saw like last time, right? You know, when Soldier was on point, you bowled him, open space, easy ass kill, right? And haven't got to commit many resources for it. Now, I guess in theory as well here, you don't need to bowler this, right? But if you, it's either this, right? Either don't bowler this and just soft engage the enemy Ash, and maybe force Coach Gun, right? Just force some cooldowns out. That's fair. I don't mind that, right? Or you do commit onto the Ash with bowler. One of the two, right? I would either again commit fully with bowler and then save your dashes, or save your dashes anyways, and then leave bowler for the next fight, or leave bowler again when they start walking up a little bit more. Either one, that's fine, right? But I would not commit both your dashes for this. But yeah, that's why that was so important. Because had you saved the dash there, you could just dash back to your team, and then you would have been completely fine. But yeah, you're probably gonna get rest though here, I assume. Maybe.
I don't think my Mercy reses me here.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know. Maybe you didn't have res. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Mercy just gets a kill. Fine. Away.
Oh, we just get wrecked by this Bob.
Yeah, just spam the Bob. You can shoot the Bob. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Bob just zones you. That's not much you can do about that, really. Okay. Okay, and again, that just comes down to, again, timing, right? Like, again, there's no one here. I don't mind you standing here. I don't mind you spamming. That's completely reasonable. But when we get to aggression and playing really, really aggressively with your dashes, I don't want that happening, you know, when there's no tank here, really. There's no attention draw, is the big issue. So you can spam here, that's fine. Don't be overtly aggressive, though, my concern. Okay. We'll see here. Alright. Okay, you go Zaya now. Okay. We're not taking the angle here. Where should we go to?
That bridge up there.
Yes, right. So either you can get up here, right, or you can again swing this corner, updraft, and then try. And you can use one of your dashes if the updraft isn't enough, but it should be. But you can updraft it and then again control this angle. Ash dies. These people die. Again, they're all looking at your Zarya right now. So anytime now, I'd be okay with you using your cooldowns to sort of play aggressively here. Unfortunately, you just don't. Should have played down main. Ash spams you out. Here would be perfect, but you don't do it. And now we just can't see anything. We can't see anything. Yeah, I mean, the only thing we can see is maybe a soldier here, but that's it, you know? And this is why updraft is really broken, because updraft allows you to see everything and anything at any time. And this is where it becomes really useful. And again, it's just so confusing, because you use your updraft when you shouldn't. But then here, when you should, you don't. So I guess the question then becomes, why not use updraft?
Well, so I know that the answer is I should use updraft, and this is just a mistake, but I think that I've also been starting to view Freya as kind of like a Genji that plays from a further range, because that's how I'm having success with Genji, viewing him as like a sort of how I've been playing Freya, taking these kind of aggressive angles and just like saving my updraft or whatever, my dash as my escape tool. Right. And I know updraft isn't great at that, and I feel like I am being too conservative with it.
Right.
And until I shouldn't be, and then I'm like, oh well, I haven't used it in forever. Let's just like get it here, and then I die.
Yeah. I'll say two things, right? So the first thing is, what is the risk of using updraft here?
The risk of using updraft, there isn't really one aside from me. Like I'm equally exposed to the soldier if I use updraft, and I don't know who's high ground, so I could updraft up there, and there could be somebody. There isn't, but there could be, other than the soldier.
Right. So again, maybe a soldier's here, right? But again, you should have scouting information that tells you that no one's using this high ground here. Like you can see no one's here anyways. So you should have information that tells you that you're actually fine to push that high ground. But again, you can be a little bit more sneaky, get your HP back, obviously. Dash here once, and then try and get to high ground here. That's fine as well. But again, when their comp's immobile, you can again use the map, right? You've got mobility, use it. Is the saying that I say when you're playing mobile characters into less mobile characters. It's the exact. An extreme example of this would be like Tracer blinking in main here, you know, or Tracer standing in and shooting Zen peeking on this corner. Like, use the mobility of your character. It's there for a reason. So yeah, of course, if you're scared about, again, if you need to leave here, you can just dash away twice, and that's fine. Or at least have one dash away. Again, that's why the rule is that you always have an escape path or an escape tool if you need to. But also, what tells you here, specifically, that it's fine to up draft? What are the triggers that tell you that's fine?
Everybody's looking at my Zarya.
Right, so that's one part of it. What about their positioning?
Their positioning, well, everybody is low ground and they're not very mobile.
Yes, right. Like they can't touch you. It's the exact same thing, right over here, right, where everyone's stacked on here. No one's coming for you. There's no danger here, unless again, of course, you just swing out in open space, right? Whatever. But again, if you swing this correctly with good cover usage and good distance management, and you use your dashes correctly, and your risk is going in at a good time too, you can do a lot of value at not much risk. And it's the exact same idea here, where again you're unnecessarily pushing down main and seeing nothing here, compared to again taking this angle on top, right? There's also again I'll list down triggers here, I suppose, right? So we're gonna look at triggers or visual cues that sort of tell you when to again up drop. So tank's obviously the obvious one, or some kind of engagement tool. We can talk about the comp as well, so the mobility of the comp. We can see their positioning too. So again, the Zarya right now, if I look at the Zarya, they're all stacked. So you've got a positional advantage to push up to the high grounds. What else? I think that's really it. But oh yeah, you also get the kill on the Zen. You get a Zen kill, which again makes it a 5v4. So it's safer to push high ground here. Those are all triggers that can tell you that, you know what, I can actually push up high ground here. And this becomes really important when you're playing into dive comps, because against Sombra Tracer, guess what? It becomes harder to know when to push up to high grounds, right? In that case, and this is why I coach master players with, that case you're looking at cooldown triggers, right? Is Tracer outs with no recall, with no re. Is Genji dashed outs. Is Sombra outs, right? Like these kind of visual cues and these kind of like visual indicators are so important at telling you, you know what, I can actually updraft aggressively and I'll be fine for it. So this is really, really important. And again, it's only going to get harder if you go against dive characters, because they can actually punish you here if you're not doing it correctly. But yeah, okay. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, and almost ended up getting dying there to the soldier, but thankfully you hit a 2-shot there. Okay. Okay, nice updraft. Okay, unfortunately you can reach there, but it's fine. Okay. Sure. I'm a little bit more aggro here, you're off some hits. Maybe not that aggro, because Zarya's right next to you. So you know Zarya's hit, right? So again, I wouldn't swing this far out in open space, right? Again, you see this mistake done again commonly a few times. You saw it first fight where you had no cover. We saw it second point defense, where again you updrafted out into open space into an Iliari Zen, and now we're seeing it here, where there's no cover being used here. How long do you get? 120, 103, 87? Yeah, not great. Okay, and again, look at them as timing, right? Oh my days. Right, what was your tank doing when you swing right?
Walking. Like nothing.
Nothing, right? Just literally nothing. Your Zarya is AFK looking at your team right now. Nothing, right? Whereas if I zoom out, right, your Zarya is now in, whereas you're out, right? Like this can't become more clear. Like this desync of pressure is so vivid at the moment, and we've seen it every single fight. And now you would absolutely love to updraft, press your updraft, dash like this. Oh my days, look at that angle, man. Like, she can't do anything about it. All these characters are looking at your Zarya. You get a kill here. You just get a kill here, you know? Not even a cooldown force. You absolutely get a kill here. And I can't stress how important the timing is of this character. Because your burst value is in your CDs. But you can't waste your CDs early. for this exact reason. So yeah, really unfortunate. Okay. Okay, nice shot there at least. Okay. Thank you. Better late than never. I don't really care about Zarya being here. You can dash away. She's not high charge. I don't really mind. Okay, have at least one dash to dash away. Okay, so that's fine. I think you got the perk here, right? So that's theirs. Okay, fine. Save that last dash. Save that last dash, right? To dash away. Because here you get down to, you get down to 90 HP, right? Because of it. So just be a little bit more cautious against Zarya. And to be honest, you should already be up here regardless. Again, Zarya should not have walked up to here for free. She shouldn't have been able to walk up here for free. You know, you should have you should have gotten value here way earlier. But is what it is, sadly. Okay. Okay. It's forced out, thankfully. Okay. Okay. Again, look at the angle we're taking, right? We can't see anything. And again, why aren't we updrafting back up to high grounds?
Because I didn't think about it.
Right. Yeah, bit unfortunate. But again, it's like that should be a visual cue, you know. When your Zarya's walking forward, what's the best angle I can take that allows me to capitalize off what my Zarya's doing? So yeah. And it's really unfortunate too because you could see the Zarya walking away, like their Zarya was walking away here. Like you got it down to really crit, which was really low. Right, like that should be the perfect visual cue to tell you. The second I get my updraft, I'm going to high ground here immediately. Before the Zarya can actually get there in time. And that would have been really nice. Here we wait. Not a really good angle. Okay. Fine. Okay, at least, okay, again, but again, you can see how the timing there is like really ugly, essentially. Because again, here, you're forced to use both dashes to be able to follow up on your Zarya. Whereas had you been here earlier, of course, again, there's people to match you, right? Which is again a bit, you might need to force these characters up first. But again, the point here being is that it should be easier in theory to be able to time your pressure and actually match up the match up the pressure with your Zarya. Okay. At least the bowler's good. Okay. Fine. Okay. Why do we leave high ground again? You are like allergic to high grounds. Right, you're 200 HP and you're completely fine. There's no reason to leave here, you know? Why do you not go high ground here?
Because I'm panicking and I'm not thinking about what would actually be good. I'm scared. I know it's a 2v5, and so I'm backing up and giving space this is probably much more fightable than I think it is, especially because I can see right here that Kiri is 1.
Right, exactly.
And I know Zarya is less than half because of my perk.
Right. So like this is I mean, here's the thing, right? Even if this fight wasn't winnable, I'd still think it's worth dashing forward to try and look for a trade, and then you can die on card, right? So I guess that's part of it in terms of like if they're giving you the high ground here, you can take the high ground space because of that. Of course, the kills that you get here, and the fact that this fight's winnable, even plays into that factor even more, right? The fact that you can actually trade onto the Kiriko and Zarya, that is a good reason as well. But yeah, again, it's just like you're so focused, or how do I say it? Your mindset is not centered around space control enough to where the second that you see free space here, your mind needs to immediately jump onto that. And again, we've seen it many a time throughout this VOD. We saw it, a little bit here on second point defense, where you had zero usage of the high ground here entirely, and you were overzealous on the high ground here too. And now we're seeing it here again here, where you're almost allergic to the high ground here, when no one's actually on the high grounds. And actually, an idea linked onto this is visual aggro, right? And there's no one that is aggressive looking at you on the high grounds, and no one. If Zarya was here staring at you, sure, move away. Dash away. I could get that. I could understand that. If Kiriko's looking at you and you're scared of getting traded, I could understand that a little bit more. But they're not. Kiriko's faced away from you, and Zarya's up the high grounds. Again, big missed opportunity there. Okay. 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 Where could you have moved to?
Move to the high ground that's up there, the window over to my left.
Yes, right. And again, it's like you are so tunneled and looking what's in front of you. I mean, I guess why is that?
Because I spent a lot of time. So when I played Overwatch 1 for a while on console, and I was a Tracer player, and I was not very good at Tracer. And then I switched over to PC, and I played a lot of Symmetra. And with Symmetra, like even whenever you TP, whenever I play her, at least, and I know I should probably do better at taking angles and high ground. If I'm not doing a bodyguard Symmetra, I usually am shooting at something that's clustered right in front of me rather than taking a high ground. And I feel like I'm just adapting what I know from Symmetra over to Freya instead of actually learning what Freya should do.
Right. Um, it's interesting you mentioned that because let's say you were playing Symmetra here. I still think TPing top left is the best play you can do. You can control the Saigon very easily. You can turret around it. You can set a TP up between here and here, and you can just pincer the enemy backline. And again, abuse your mobility against that comp that can't actually reach you. You're effectively playing. You're effectively zoning the backline here permanently, which again is something that actually high level sim players do all the time. You're just again keeping their backline at bay. Like if you're playing Symmetra here and you're playing in this little area, I would definitely say TP here. Or if you're playing back here, I say TP here, control high ground, look to flank around, and be a complete nuisance on their backline. And even on Freya here, again, I think in general, I think we'll talk about this towards the end about the summary. But your mindset needs to be shifted away from big clusters and big kills and big plays to what space can I control? How can I minimize the angles that the enemy team can take? And how can I abuse the angles that I can take here as well? Or again, another question you can sort of ask yourself is, how can I set myself up for my Zarya, or for my tank, or for my Orisa? Because again, had you been here, where's your Zarya? Come back from spawn, right? Had you been here, you can spam initially, and then once your Zarya comes back, you have one of the most insane angles in the entire universe. So yeah, we'll watch this last fight here, and what I'll do, I'll put the camera here as well, and then we could have talked about what you could have done, or what could have been had you been on the left there. But yeah, okay. Let's see here. Also, again, it relates back to the whole aggressive but safe idea, right? Where nobody on their team, not a single human being on their team, can reach you here. And if they can, they can't do it safely. And again, I wouldn't be suggesting to dash here if they're playing Sombra. Because guess what? You're isolated, right? And that's when isolation becomes important. Because Sombra can actually catch you here and quickly dive you. There's no one in here, no one on this team can actually do that. So that's an important nuance there. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. And again, notice how, I mean, your Zarya's not fully going in, right? But, so I wouldn't be expecting you to sort of go in here with your CDs, right? But notice how you're getting down to 50 HP, you know? And what I don't want happening here again is, like, you have to get your CDs forced out, you have to, like, peek away, you have to de-peek here while your Zarya's walking in. That's what I don't want to see, because we've seen it so many times already. Okay. I don't mind your team anchoring this position here. Okay, and again, like, we're using all our cooldowns before anything's even happens, you know? And we're also peeking out in open space to do it. Not ideal. Okay, we're using an updraft there. Okay, well, at least we're using it to get to high ground here. Better late than never. Okay. This is just gonna be micro against Junkrat, right? Do not peek this corridor. I would actually just ignore him. Because if I'm coaching that Junkrat, I'm saying, stay here, hold this angle, one-shot the Freya when she comes out. And I don't know why he doesn't one-shot you. So it just becomes really hard to peek the Junkrat if you haven't got updraft. So again, it's linking into the last fight in terms of, again, you could have been here, you could have prevented the Junkrat Kiriko from even getting here in the first place. But yeah. Okay. Okay, sure. Fine, yeah. But if I zoom out here, right, and let's say, because your team do push in with orbital ray here, right? So if I back it up here and change the camera to, like, over here, overlay on, one to orbital ray. Okay. Like now with orbital ray, like now maybe you're playing, I don't know, like here or maybe here, right? Like now I would expect you to sort of updraft, push forward with ray, and then catch these targets, right? Now would be a great time to updraft and actually push it. But you're too busy fighting for space. Like, oh, you should have already had at the beginning of last fight. So very unfortunate. Okay, we'll see what you could have done. Had you been here? Where are you? You're already far away. You already leave it. Alright, but you could have been spamming, 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 could have been spamming. Look at this angle. This is an insane angle. Like, how on earth do they even flush you out here? Like, they just don't. Of course, need to be careful about dynamite, right? So there's micro there to be learnt. But we can't even talk about that micro if you've never taken this angle in here in the first place. Or even thinking about taking the angle here, which is unfortunate. Okay. We'll see here. Okay. And that just didn't stop the boss fight, yeah. Okay, we'll see. The next fight. It's higher, but it's not gonna get much. Okay. Okay. And again, that fight, you didn't really do much. Right? You shot 3 shots at Zarya, and that was basically it. Not too much you did there. That's based on the angle that you had. Alright, we'll see here. Okay. Love. Okay, whoa. I was not thinking that. Why bottle shot this?
I think I bullet shotted way too late because I was trying to catch the Junkrat before he made it to cover, and he made it to cover by the time the bullet shot animation finished.
Right. That's not my issue with it though, because this could have hit the Junkrat, and I still would have said this is a bad bottle shot, right? Why would it be a bad bottle shot still?
Because it's gonna get no value. Even if I hit the Zarya, she just bubbles it, and it's just a waste of an ultimate.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically, right? But like, it's not necessary. You've won the fight. You know, like you don't. If this hits Junkrat, he's dead anyways. If this hits Zarya, sure she can bubble it, right? But even if it hits the Zarya, she's going to die anyways. You've got such an insane spawn advantage. You've already won the fight. There's no point using the spoiler. Again, could have been nice to have for next fights. Okay, sure. Finally, we're here. Okay. Okay. Honestly, if I had you at bullet shot, I wouldn't even mind you like hiding here somewhere, and then you could even go for the Ash right now, to be honest. But you could even hide here, wait until they drop down to low ground, and then bullet shot from behind. I would actually say that's again that kind of play. By the way, this is extremely aggressive. Right? That play that I just mentioned, flanking behind, bullet shotting directly behind them when they're walking in. That is an insanely aggressive play, but it's also very safe. It's done well. And I don't want you to sort of think that, oh yeah, because I'm isolated here, I'm going to just die. Like, no. Again, they've got a very immobile comp. You can get away with that kind of thing. And not even can. You should be able to get away with that kind of thing. Okay. Especially if you scout the Zarya, right? If you scout Zarya, and you're like, oh yeah, Zarya's down on low grounds, she's not going to scout this. There's no way she's going to scout this. You scouted you know where she's at. So yeah, now I would like, again, had you had bowler shot, I would have been flanking here anyways. From the get-go. Okay. We'll see here. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, your Ash Surgeon just dies, sure. Okay, why do we rotate back here?
Because the enemy team is pushing up, and I guess I should have just stayed on the back there. I could have kept laying into them from behind.
Right. Because you just mentioned, oh yeah, the enemy team's walking, right? You just mentioned that. But this is where they're walking through. And this is... Hang on. There we go, better. They're walking forward, you're correct. Therefore, stand here, right? So your reasoning's actually sound, right? But it's the conclusion that you draw from it that's a little bit questionable. Because yeah, you are right, they are walking up, right? And congrats, you're right. But this would be an amazing angle to capitalize on that, right? So yeah, whereas here, your LOS is limited. From here, yeah, you can only see, and you can kind of see the Kiriko, right? But of course, your LOS is significantly better had it been from here. And I think again, I would not be surprised if your Sojourn got quite a lot of value from that angle compared to you. Okay, sure. So yeah, you might need to touch here anyway. So no money dropping now. Yeah. Your team just let them walk forward here for no reason. Like you guys, you cannot let the enemy team walk here in this open space for free when you're running a pocket with double hit scan. Which is again can't really happen with the comp that you're kind of running here. But yeah, okay, we'll see. Are there any specific fights here on Circle Royale that you want to go through on attack?
Not particularly. I mean, it's a lot of the same where I just take bad angles and
right.
I just consistently fail to have good timing, and I'm too aggressive a lot of the time. And...
Right. We'll see you on attack because I think it's more obvious on attack. Because you're actively having to retake into that space. Okay. 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 So honestly, I don't really mind using up drop early there. Again, they're just kind of teams will give space on this front corner anyway, so I don't really mind it. You'll get it back when your Zarya pushes. Nothing crazy so far. Okay, maybe there is. I mean, my biggest qualm is that you're on cart, and you should not be on cart. And if you are on cart for whatever reason, because no one else is alive, then actually use the cart as cover, right? I don't know why. Again, we're out in open space here for no reason. Again, big cover issue, and it's really dumb as well because cover is like super simple. It's an idea that's applicable across any game on any character, and it's been applicable to Overwatch for like 10 years. But people still die to it sadly. Okay, we'll see here. Now we go Sim. When do you play Sim now? Okay. When do you play Sim for the rest of the attack? Yeah, you do.
I do? Oh yeah, and then I go back to Freja.
Yeah, go back to Freja, okay. Okay, we'll see, yeah. I mean, this actually looks, with where you're at right now, this looks promising. How many go top right? Please. I mean, if you take the dangerous way of getting here, but fine. I was expecting you to like up drop here, then go over here, right? And then this is a bit safer.
I remember in game thinking about going on the right, like going far right, like up there to where I can see right now, going up that way. But I saw through the wall because of my perk that the LR was low. I didn't know she was antied, which was a huge bonus, but I knew she was low,
right?
Because of my perk. And so I go a little bit aggro here. I lay into her a little bit, and then she gets hit. I look up. I should have caught the anti-nade. I didn't think about it in game, but she goes behind the wall, and I can see her because of my perk.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
I go up that way.
That's all fine, right? But my issue is, if you want to push the LRE here, and you're doing what you're doing, are you putting yourself in danger?
Yes, I'm entering the sight line of specifically the Mayana.
Right, and you're just putting yourself at what I like to say is unnecessary risk. Whereas again here, you don't have to actually do that yourself. So I don't really care about the Eliari and her HP. I don't really. That's an irrelevant factor in this. It's just how dangerous you're putting yourself in. And again, covers the main culprit here. At least you are on a good angle here, at least. So at least you're on a good angle. Here we go. And you are literally dancing. This is what I wanted to see more of on defense here. Where you're literally dancing on the entire enemy backline. You just got 3 kills. And you are the most aggressive person on your team. And you are also the safest person on your team at the same time. It is not paradoxical to be aggressive and safe. Now I would move, yeah, I would move. There we go.
I don't fully remember, but I do remember staying up here for a pretty long time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it takes 10 trillion years for them to actually reach you. They're not gonna, especially, I mean, in high elo, they will come and force you out, right? So I would be a little bit cautious about doing what you're doing here. But I'm not surprised that they don't chase you here, to be honest. He just ignores you out. Sure. Okay. Sure. Alright, cool. Okay, I'll just break pylon, by the way, just more micro thing. Break pylon. Right there, just break it. But yeah. Okay. Okay, so yeah. I mean, after you, again, I'll just break pylon here, look for any kills that you could get with Bola, and then move back here, and then force at the front line. It's that simple. Yeah. Nothing crazy. If you can't see any angles here because they're all hiding, or whatever the case may be, and you're scared of the spawn coming back, then just go back and force that front line from this angle here. Because again, there's nothing Zarya May can actually do, if you want this high gun angle. But yeah. Okay. We'll do a quick summary here at the end. Okay, we'll use this wall. Okay. And we'll turn off this overlay. Alright, first thing, I mean, it has to be timing. Has to be. Timing. Again, look at the visual cues of either tank, any engagement to that can be an overclock, for example. We saw on first defense. That can also be targets that are really low. It's like, and we saw that on second point defense as well, where the enemy, when they were walking up the slope, they were really low. But you didn't have updraft for it, and I would have minded had you used updraft to sort of get the angle and see them. That would have been fine. What else? With timing here. I think that's mainly most of it. I mean, I'll say like again, sort of the again CDs, will actually no, I'll say that for the second part, which will be swinging away, swinging with cover, away, with distance, with cover, cover, and distance from corners. It ensures cover, and then what else? Oh yeah, we'll be using updraft in accordance the actual engagement as well. Again, links into first points. And then again, that's when you'll do your dash shoot combo. And then I'll say this one as well. I'll link this onto this part here as well. Just have at least one dash. Okay. And then last thing we'll say is oh yeah, we'll say this. So, like mindset on space control. Space control mindset. Mindset. Again, aggressive but safe. And third point defense is probably the best examples of that. Again, could have been on updrafted to high ground. When tank goes in or in between fight. And again, low mobility to and hard. Of course, I wouldn't suggest hard flanking just yet because you need to have really good timing with it, and of course, timing's the main sort of thing I want you to work on, or the main sort of issue that's been present in this VOD. Or you've either died for it or you've missed key opportunities to get kills because your timing's just been bad. Again, first point defense, you just straight up died because you just went too early. Second point defense, you missed out on kills, and you could have swung wide to the right side. But yeah, I think all three of these points interlink into each other. I think second point defense is the best case of that, where, again, you're controlling the top right high ground, so you've got space control, you're swinging wide with distance, so that's the second point, and you're timing it with when your reverse is going in, so that's the first point. And they all kind of interlink. But that's what I would say for the VOD so far. Any questions or queries or comments?
I do have a question, like, was my macro up to standard, or not my macro, my micro up to standard in general? Like, there were some moments where it wasn't great and some maybe better moments, but
Right.
overall, was it okay?
If you mean mechanics, yeah, I've got no. Your aim's fine. I've got no issue with that. That's definitely not holding you back. Like I can say it. I can say right now, your aim is not holding you back. If that's what you're worried about. You've hit some good 2 shots. I remember 2 shot you hit onto the enemy soldier. I think it was in third point defense. Yeah, I've got no big concerns of that really. The micro in terms of like how you're using your cooldowns, that's micro, which obviously needs to be worked on. But in terms of mechanics, I've got no concerns. But yeah, micro in terms of like your cooldowns and and when you're using them, alongside micro in terms of your cover usage, yeah, that's where needs a little bit of work. But that comes into again timing. That will come naturally. But yeah, anything else?
The other question I have, so like, whenever it comes to when my tank's engaging, that's like whenever my tank is on top of them. Yeah, that's when I should be looking to go. What should I be doing in my downtime then? Just like spamming a little bit, hugging a corner perpetually.
Yeah, right. So literally, like at the beginning of first fight, go back here. Okay, we can use this example here actually. All right, so let's say your Reza goes in, and then you swing, right? You swing here, right? Maybe you take statue, you spam a little bit, right? And you do a dash thing, and you have uptime. During your downtime, you'll probably give space in accordance with your Orisa, right? So it'll depend basically on how good your cycle was. If it's a good cycle, your Orisa will keep pushing in with Fortify, and you'll be able to swing to like maybe over here, maybe over here, maybe you can actually move to the palm tree and push deeper. That's if your cycle's good. If your cycle's not good, then you'll be forced to give space and kite back. And during this kind of kite back, you'll be dashing away, you'll be spamming, you won't be dashing, you shouldn't be dash shooting. Of course you can use your dash to sort of like interweave shots and whatnot. But you'll be giving space and playing back here essentially. Again, it just depends on how good your cycle is, right? Because you could get a kill, right? You could certainly get a kill if you go for your first cycle here, and get 3 good take aim shots, and you get a kill, and then your team can keep pushing in deeper, right? So it just depends on how good your cycle is. But yeah, that's kind of the short end of the story there. If you haven't got, again, if you've got no CDs, or if it's at the beginning of a fight, so maybe it's like over here, right? You'll be standing with your shots, and you'll try your best to not use or not waste your dashes. I don't mind if you use like 1 dash, that's fine. I don't mind that. It's really the updraft is what I'm looking for, and making sure that, again, if you're swinging with your Orisa, you've got at least 1 dash to escape. And at least you're actually, hopefully you're actually able to push with your Orisa and actually capitalize by getting some kills. But yeah, I guess that's the key thing with Freya so far. But yeah, anything else?
No, I think that pretty much covered all of it. I really appreciate this.
Cool, no worries. Alright.